the check-ins.
Yeah.
I heard this quote and I loved it. And it basically said that every 7 years, and everybody talks about the 7 year itch, but so we'll just stick with the 7 years. Every 7 years, you have the opportunity to have a new relationship. And that relationship is either going to be with the same person, but it will still be new, or it will be with a new person, right? So we have that choice.
Mm.
And it's like, what are you going to choose to do? And I think it's pretty dead on. I'm like, every 7 years, I do feel like a new person. I've grown so much. So I have the opportunity to check in with my spouse and say, hey, are you still enjoying this? What are the areas that are working for you? What areas are not working for you? And can we still grow together?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something you just have to take it as it goes. And like you said, check in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think giving space and grace is so important.
Yes.
It's just like, if you can't give the other person the space to be who they truly are, because you have to control, well, we have to be married or we have to be this way or that way, then it's like, do you really love them? Or do you love the idea of being married or the
Mm-hmm.
idea of their relationship? Because you aren't really showing love if you can't support them in their changes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel like you can't be in the seat of control and almost like this ownership and also experience love. Like those
mm-mm.
are not the same things, and we talked about this a little bit last night at dinner,
Yeah.
which to me, and I've had the blessing of like my career to really make me sit with what I think and find to know what love and unconditional love is. And I never knew it existed.
Yeah.
I thought love was always conditional. It always
Mm-hmm.
had conditions. You have to be a good boy. I have to be a good girl. Like there's all of these like self-imposed often, right? Rules of whether or not I was worthy or you were worthy of that love. And what I realized is you get to reframe that if you want. Like you can take that programming out and make it whatever you want. And it's once you break down enough, you can realize that with the right person, like there's nothing that you can do that will make me stop loving you. It's not to
Yeah.
say I'll excuse a behavior or that we'll be together forever, because you are allowed to establish those boundaries, but you can be divorced and still have love for
Oh my
somebody.
God,
Yeah.
yes. Yes. And I couldn't agree more. It's like, that's ultimate love.
Mhm.
Ultimate love. And I explain it this way with my husband, that this is the only way that I can explain it. When I met him, he was a beautiful bird flying, and I was admiring, wow, how graceful and this and that about him. Then you want to take that bird and put it in a cage, and you think you're going to admire and love it the same. No, you're not. So let him be free. And of course, we talk about our boundaries and our desires, etc. And of course, respect it's so important, and honesty and truth. But we have the opportunity to build our relationship in any form we want. And I think that's what people forget. It's like, it doesn't matter what Sally and Brenda and John think about their relationship. That's not my business. My relationship is my business. And
Mhm.
so I can create it in whatever form I want. And like you said, I I know deep in my heart that no matter what happens with Charles and I, even if he was to break our commitments, I will always love him. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean I will always be with him,
Mhm.
of course, because we have to uh, keep respecting our own personal boundaries. Boundaries are for yourself, not for others.
Mhm.
They're the guidelines that tell you, this is what I am willing to live with and accept. And when people cross those, it's not about teaching them a lesson, it's about respecting yourself. So, of
Mhm.
course, I have boundaries, and Charles and I have commitments, but um, I just know that what he has given me and the love and support that he has shown me, I will forever be grateful for.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to leave that openness and that space for each other.
Mhm. Yeah, I very
Mm.
much agree. Have you ever read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill?
No, but it's probably good.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, I get the audiobook. It's
okay.
the best way to do it because the reader, it's basically an interview with the devil, and
Ooh.
the premise to it is that Napoleon Hill had done a bunch of psychedelics
Okay.
and actually accessed
Get out.
this
Okay,
energy
I'm gonna do
and
it.
was speaking with him. Like this is like the wives' tale of
Uh-huh.
it, so who knows,
Yeah.
right? So he's interviewing the devil, and for some reason the devil has to answer everything with total honesty. Like he has this hold on him. So he is
Mm.
just asking all of the questions that you would probably ask if you
Yeah.
were sitting down with, the devil himself. It's a fascinating book. And what's interesting, it was he wrote it, and in the conversation, like the devil is like, you won't write this because you or publish this because you'll get ostracized from society. It took over 70 years for it to get published because he died. The wife didn't want to publish it because she's like, my name will be ruined, his name will be ruined. So like it kind of came to fruition. So it came out way, way later. And one part of the conversation that he has with them, because he gets into religion and a lot of like the social norms of the time, and it's crazy how much it holds up like almost
Mhm.
80 years later. But he gets into divorce and the
Mhm.
idea that the church instilled, which is divorce is wrong, like you can't do it, right? Up until Henry the whatever like established his own
Yeah.
church, like couldn't do it. And he says that we have this idea of duty and that you owe something to other people. And he's like, the only person that you owe anything to is yourself. So if you're in a situation where your soul is being depleted or you're miserable, you do not owe that marriage you to stay in it at the expense of your well-being. He said the only exception is when you're raising children. So
Mm.
that is the only time that you have a duty to someone other than yourself. You don't have it to your boss, your lover, anyone else. It is yourself.
I
And
agree
then
with
when you
that.
are raising children.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so fascinating and nuanced, especially for the time that it was written. And I just want so many people to read that book because there's so many aha moments that you have. And it really makes you think programming that we've been told.
Yeah. No, I think that's phenomenal.